Hi folks, and welcome to the Filmic channel, and I'm in the woods again, just on a short bimble around my place. And today I want to talk to you about another knife, which I think I already showed you, but only in a context where it appeared to illustrate a breed of knives, and so I thought I'd give you my thoughts on this little fellow here, which is a little bit special because this is another working man's knife, and it's been widely in use in the coal and iron mining industry around my parts. This one is a Polish make, however, and Polish because it once was a German corporation, and well, that goes back to the darkest period of German history. And the thing is, a lot of the mining industry around my parts, was heavily influenced by Polish miners, and because they came over, and that goes back far into the early modern times, where they worked as prospectors, and well, they were how to put it? They were hunting for treasures. They were making a living from hunting treasures, and so this is interesting. And what this is the successor of one Gerlach brand, and it's still called Gerlach, if I'm not entirely mistaken. Well, this is a really sturdy knife, and if you look at it closely, you see there is this rivet that is simply pinned over the bolsters, which makes for far better serviceability, because if the blade would come loose with heavy work, you could always adjust the play and the walk. And this is from the 1950s, as far as I'm informed. I can always be wrong. It's nearly impossible to estimate the age of this breed of knives, because this one isn't even stamped, and because this once this was a really cheap item. It was pretty much something that wouldn't cost a lot, and if you look at the website of one Otter corporation, who still make one with a single blade, nowadays the cheapest model costs about 68 euros, but back in the day this would have cost maybe 10 mark, which was the currency back in the day. And it was tool, and back in the day, I don't want to sound like an old fart, like the old fart that I am, but back in the day, if you bought simple tools, they were simple, not crap. And this is a pretty simple tool, and it's got some hardwood scales. And they are different on both sides, and there's quite an interesting grain going on if you look at that. I like that, and But this is really well thought out. Walk and talk are awesome, like and there also is a reamer. This is not a marlin spike. It could be used as a marlin spike in a pinch. That's not what I'm saying, but listen to that to that talk. It is what it also isn't is an awl. This is a reamer, and it back in the day there was a sort of a sheet metal armament of electric lines. You had got some insulation around the copper inner lines, and a textile wrap, and a thick layer of textile wrap, and sometimes some mesh, and around all that was some iron or tin armament. And in order to remove the burrs from the armament, electricians carried this reamer, and it's on a lot of knives from the day, but its use has been pretty much forgotten, and is also one reason why few corporations still produce this, even though it is also a really valuable tool for bushcraft, and because you can use it for scraping. I need to sharpen it a little bit. I actually use it a lot, and it also comes in handy for striking a ferro rod. You could use it. You could also use it for striking a quartz or a flint stone in order to start a flint and steel fire. As you can also do with the spine of the blade. I don't recommend it doing this on a regular basis. Get yourself a dedicated striker. There are pretty beautiful things out there, and also what I want to emphasize is that flint and steel fire starting isn't anything I would do in a survival situation, because it's not a survival technique. It's cool, it's fun, and you could. It's also pretty reliable if you got the right charcoal, but you need a fire to start a fire first, because you need to some sort of prepared tinder. You could prepare your amadou. You could use nettle fibers. You could use charcoal, but for all of this, you need a little bit of preparation, and to get that fire going, you often need a fire, and so that's not. Well, it's not a survival technique, as I said countless times. Get moving. Well, I spare you the rant again. You could poke holes into the front side of the. If the reamer is sharpened, that'll work better. You can see you can do this without risking too much of your blade. The blade is made from carbon steel, which has corroded a little bit and shows sort of a patina, and it's got a spine thickness of 2.8 millimeters that tapers to has a distal taper to it, which is nice. It is really, really thin, and given that this is a hardcore knife, this was meant to stand up to the hardest abuse imaginable. It is really thin, and it's the edge, the thickness above the edge is just 0.2, 0.3. Originally, I put sort of a convex on it to aid with carving, so this the edge bevel is a little bit wider, and well, if I may. Also, the Lamsfoot blade is really, you can use it to great effect for whittling details. So this might as well be one of my favorite pocket whittling knives, and it's works a cinch for details. So carvy, little Fimbulmerk. And just doing a quick wood spirit head, because it's fun, and it's something that I do quite frequently, so I can better estimate the performance of the knife, and given the blade is rather short, it's just some 78 millimeters, it also offers you, well, how to put it, a bit of control, and so been doing this with the kids at the Sustainability Center, but alas, it shouldn't have been. I think I'm out there, so I will miss that a little bit. But as long as it lasted, it was a great time. And I mean, always the same. The instant I want to get paid for what I do, I'm out. So also, I don't like being digitalized a lot. So. But I don't want to rant and don't want to complain. I want to carve a wood spirit, and giving a little fellow a little sort of a little cap. Actually, what I find is, I think I need to definitely carve more birchwood, because it's I've been carving a lot of oak and other hardwoods lately, and it really, if you get a little bit of birch, that's really lovely to carve. And yeah. One of my favorite carving woods, by the way. It's because it's has got a nice and fine grain, and it carves easily. It's also, it isn't too shabby when strength is concerned, and so little fellow almost done. removing the bark. It would also be nice to leave the bark on, but you can leave the bark on, but this is pretty rotten already, so I want to be better safe than sorry, and well, get something like that. Now I'm using the knife for really daft carving moves, like so, and just sails through the wood like nothing. Also, given that this is a slip joint knife, it's absolutely surprising how sturdy this is. It will not come close enough if you use it halfway sensible. That is, if you look at that, and normally you don't do spine wax on slip joint knives, but well, perfectly sturdy. Walk and torque are awesome. Actually, the walk is very smooth, and this is maybe, or originally was on some models, the walk is a little bit rough, because well, it was meant to be a tool, and spring is really stiff, and well, that aided in keeping the knife open. If you could pry it open in the first, you actually need some locksmith's hands in order to get it open. And sometimes even when the weather's changing, I get my problems opening it. The spring is so stiff. But actually, over time, the walk really got really smooth and enjoyable, and well, and it's you can also tell it has been professionally maintained. It's not that someone used some angle grinder to grind the hell out of it. But someone really knew what they were doing, and so carving another. This time this is pine. And, by the way, there is a really phenolic smell to it, because the pine grew next to the highway. So well, how to put it? Highways are shit. Well, you need highways to get around, but maybe we should think about it a little bit, but just not starting another rant. If you can also use it to good effect with such a rolling cut. I'm just doing here. And the Landsfoot blade is really great for slöjd, actually, for carving stuff, and maybe that's also a bit because I was raised with these carving knives my father had, and they were these short carving knives. You could kirschen and what have you, and maybe it's because I'm pretty much accustomed to using the blade, but especially for fine detail work, that's pretty controllable. You can also control the tip pretty great, by putting your index finger on top of it. Also, the spine isn't too sharp, so you can also use a thumb push technique. And actually, if you and the short blade also aids in getting the job done. Like so. I got sort of an obsession with wood spirits, and I know it. So if you use a chest lever cut, it's a little bit crappy to, a little bit. Maybe that's better. If you use sort of a chest lever cut and you control your blade with pushing with your thumb, you also get more precise cuts done, and that's a technique that I find really valuable. And if you see me cutting towards myself, well, sometimes that's inevitable, and maybe you have heard that you shouldn't, and that's certainly true if you are a beginner. You should first learn to control your knife, and well, thing is, you will get cut, and the question is how deep. And that's, I know that sounds crappy. I know that that's nothing that anyone wants to hear, and well, it's just realistic. You can and you should obviously take good care. That's not what I'm saying, and especially if you're a beginner, I strongly recommend to get yourself some cut-resistant tape or something, because, well, getting cut sucks, and you don't need me to tell you that. But what I want to say is, I know what I'm doing, even if it doesn't look the part. So if you want a tutorial and haven't yet seen it, go down in my timeline. I tried to show you my way of carving a wood spirit further down. I find this is a great thing if you want a cheap Christmas decor or something, and most people enjoy it. And screw the ones who don't. I mean, everybody loves wood spirits. And you can see this is actually actually already the pristine of a dedicated carving knife, and this is why I really love to bring this alongside my Victorinox, which also offers a saw and a smaller blade and for cleaning up, and you know, and the great thing about this little wood spirit is, by the way, that it's made from pine wood, and this is pretty resinous, and actually this piece is pretty resinous, almost fat wood, and if you do this, you get that lovely Christmas smell in your home. And if you leave the bark on, you can ensure that it will last you some time. Eventually it will get a little less distinct, and this could be cleaned up a little bit with sandpaper and a little bit refined still, but the point that I want to make is that well, these knives are awesome for something like this, and well, that's the reason they are called utility knives, and or work knives or something. And personally, I really well, thing is, once upon a time I fell for the bushcraft knives, and not a rant incoming, don't get me wrong, but the thing is, what I really can recommend is there's a video of these Finnish guys. Search for Pukkola ja Kirvele here on YouTube. This is a museum documentation of some old Jätkän making stuff with just a pukko and an axe, and well, this pretty much opened my eyes, because what is it what we do in the forest, and who are we that we think we know better than these guys who made this for a living? And I cannot even start to fathom how tough these old conquerors must have been to live a life like that. It also must have been a pretty great time of relative freedom, and but what I wanted to say is, if these old conquerors did everything with one pukko knife, and well, pukko, in several survival forums and stuff, that there's ongoing discussion that pukko aren't strong enough. It's always the same, because battening, and well, these guys also do a lot of battening, but they use an axe for that, and well, and you can see if you watch the video, which I strongly recommend, of course. You see one guy is working with a pukko where the tip is missing, because well, he used it pretty hard, and he didn't put it on a shelf to admire it, which I do actually. It's not that I want to bash anyone who is collecting knives and fond of them, but you know, these guys pretty much knew their shit, even if, well, shit happens, and you can either grind back the tip, or leave it as be, leave it as is, and but they would repair these knives, and they would. And same goes for these knives, because they were in the pockets of miners and working people, and I have seen examples of them that were abused to smithereens, not because they they found that funny to abuse their knives, but because they had to, they had to make a living with them, and if the job needed to get done and there was no other tool, well, people used the knives, and often that led to failure. But the knives were supposed to cater to gross abuse, and thing is, I personally, actually, I'm pretty convinced that we got it back to front, because, well, what we are doing is showing off our gear, and awful gear. Don't get me wrong. I love being a gearo, and I love buying cool stuff. But this has changed over time, and I just want to save you the fuss of buying the silly stuff that I bought. Amongst them, several tactical knives, by the way, which wasn't a good idea, because it's not because they are crappy knives. They are awesome tactical knives. But because this is what I do and what I like to do, and for that, a tactical knife works crap. It doesn't cut. It doesn't work. And I've never been in a situation where I needed to batten that bad that I needed to risk my knife. And thing is, well, I've ranted about that time and time again. I don't need to do this again. What I want to say is, if you are looking for a great utility knife that is, by the way, also legal in the UK, because I think 76 millimeters or something, maybe a tad longer, you would be pretty well off with something like this. And I know that there are still manufacturers in Sheffield also producing this kind of knife without the reamer. So that's maybe something you, if you are into wood carving. It's hard to beat the Victorinox, by the way, because you get those other tools, but the Wharncliffe or lamb's foot blade works a cinch for detail carving, so you might want to either modify your Victorinox or get yourself one additionally. I also think that this is a little bit more beautiful due to the steel bolster, and it's also more robust because of the steel bolsters and the sturdy spring and what have you. And I don't think, well, this is a really able utility knife to have on you, and create a lot of beautiful stuff. And if you're into whittling, this works a cinch. It's one of my favorite knives to date for doing stuff like that. Because as you've seen me controlling the tip when you put first one. That's the first one. Controlling the tip with my index finger, and you can use it to make really fine shavings too. And the tip button is what I want to say. And clean up the carving with it in a really controlled manner, and because it gathers up the material, sort of like a recurve blade would do. That said, I hope that was halfway informative, or maybe entertaining or helpful. I can only recommend this. Getting some. And I paid, I got it on a flea market, and sometimes you still find that these in Germany. And I think I paid €5 for it, and that's that's hard to beat. And other than that, you might want to go to some Sheffield manufacturer, Sheffield knives, I think, or Otter Messer GmbH in Germany, because they make the Weber Messer, which translates to weaver's knife, which has the same layout. Actually, the dimensions are pretty much the same, as only there is not a reamer on it. I would love to get myself one, but I would have to buy something to eat first before I think about buying new knives. And well, by the way, the liners are steel too. But what I want to say is you can get it from there, and there are other brands. Well, I've seen that Rough Rider makes one, and I'm not too fond of Chinese knives actually, but there's no mistaking the fact that the quality seems to be quite outstanding, and maybe that's an alternative too. And it's comparatively cheap and offers a blade of VG10. Actually, I don't know whether or not this is a good thing, because for the application, the carbon steel on this one works a cinch, and it offers a really razor sharp and fine edge, which you cannot quite get with a VG10. What the VG10 offers is something that you, well, more edge resistance, and with this one you might want to use a leather strop or a stopping steel. Where the stopping steel you can use on that alright, because it's not a Scandite grind, and well, and you can keep this really razor sharp. And if it loses the sharpness, you can just wet it over your pants, and be careful not to cut yourself, by the way. As I said, hope that was halfway informative and helpful, and you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, thanks for being here. Get out there in the woods, whittle yourself something, and well, I hope to see you soon, and take good care. Bye.